So what are the foods that fuel our immune system? Here are my top 5. Mushrooms and mushroom powders or extracts such as reishi, maitake, shiitake, turkey tail, and cordyceps. These fungi have incredible immune supportive properties. Cooking with medicinal mushrooms like shiitake, for example, is a fantastic way to incorporate them in your diet. I have an excellent recipe on my website for a stir-fried ginger broccolini with shiitake. Also, chaga mushrooms ground up in powder form, which you can buy already in that format, makes a great chai tea. Fun fact, the mushrooms contain a plant metabolite called vanillin, which occurs naturally in the vanilla bean and is used to make synthetic vanilla extract, probably why it tastes so good. Next category, antioxidant-rich foods. I'm going to highlight 2 key antioxidant types beneficial for the respiratory system specifically, beta-carotene and selenium. First, let's talk beta-carotene-rich foods. These are the golden and orange and dark green vegetables. So for the orange ones, we're thinking carrots, squash, pumpkin, yams, red bell peppers, and cantaloupe. When I'm run down or fighting something, I love to have a simple carrot ginger soup or curried squash soup with coconut milk. Satisfying and soothing, warming with anti-inflammatory spices. For the greens, it's things like broccoli, kale, mustard greens, blue-green algae, herbs like parsley, and also nettles. The chlorophyll in these greens inhibits viruses and helps the lungs discharge residues from chemical fumes, cigarette smoke, pollution, things like wildfire. Yerba Santa is especially indicated for this, and I want to talk more about that ahead. Next up, selenium. Selenium deficiency actually increases the rate at which viruses can mutate, promoting the evolution of strains that are more pathogenic and capable of evading immune surveillance. So we want to stock up on our selenium. Protein-rich foods from animals like meat, eggs, fish, and also legumes like lentils are good sources of selenium, but my favorite and the easiest plant-based diet-friendly way to get them is Brazil nuts. A single Brazil nut contains an average of 80 micrograms of selenium, meaning that just 1 nut per day can provide the daily RDA, or recommended daily allowance, of 56 micrograms. Brazil nut parmesan is great in place of cow dairy parmesan, which can be quite mucus forming. Cow dairy is great to avoid at a time where you want to keep your respiratory passages clear and you're focused on moving out microbes, not having more of a burden of phlegm. Next category, pungent foods. Hot peppers and chilies are great for helping to protect the lungs, but also don't forget the white pungents like onions, garlic, radishes of all kinds, but particularly daikon radish is super pungent, and also white peppercorns, horseradish. This includes wasabi. You have likely accidentally experienced the miraculous way it cleans your sinuses. Many of us have had that, eating sushi and discovering, I put a little too much in. A tip, when I feel like I've got some congestion and need some extra sinus support, I'll mix a little with some tamari or Bragg's aminos and put it in marinades, or even just sprinkle some on top of some steamed or stir-fried vegetables and rice, and maybe a little protein. Next category, mucilaginous foods. These support the mucous membranes of both the colon and the lungs. These are things like kombu, flaxseed, and fenugreek. Fenugreek is a pungent herb used in Indian and Middle Eastern cuisine. Actually, a piece of trivia for you. What do curry powder and artificial maple syrup have in common? Fenugreek. It's the distinctive dominant flavor in many curry powders, and if it's roasted, it actually develops a nutty maple syrup-like flavor, which is used to actually make artificial maple flavor. I like to put it in my paleo pancake batter and even sprinkle it on corn on the cob. Kombu is a seaweed. You can find it as a dried stick in health food stores. I add a stick of this to my legumes that I'm soaking overnight in water. It helps to make the beans more digestible. The next day when you're cooking, I just toss it back in the pot with the fresh water and boil my beans. Excellent for reducing the gas and the bloating that we can sometimes experience from legumes. Also, flax seeds. These are excellent in ground form, stored in the fridge or the freezer. They're an amazing source of omega-3 anti-inflammatory essential fatty acids and fiber. You can sprinkle them on cereals, smoothies, salads, anything that is raw, or put it on after something's cooked. The heat destroys the essential omega-3 fatty acids. To sum it up, we know that the majority of our immune system is actually in our gut. And so if the gut is healthy, the immune system will be healthier. We know that there are foods that can fuel our gut and our immune system. Try adding some of these fortifying ingredients today. I'll include my recipe links below.